Shalom, I'm Stephen Stern, Rabbi of Temple Beth Torah in Clark, New Jersey. This week's Torah portion tells of the rebellion of Korach and his followers. 250 strong, they confront Moses, declaring, Kol ha'edah kulam kedoshim. The entire assembly is holy. Why do you raise yourself above the congregation? From a strictly egalitarian perspective, it might seem perhaps that Korach's argument has some merit. Why shouldn't Moses and Aaron share more broadly the responsibilities of leadership? Our tradition, of course, views Korach less charitably. The Mishnah in Avot analyzes the nature of disagreement and declares that it is either for the sake of heaven and will endure, or it is not for the sake of heaven and will not endure. And it gives examples. Disagreements for the sake of heaven are like those between the sages Hillel and Shammai. Disagreements not for the sake of heaven are like those of Korach and his followers. What does it mean to say that a controversy is for the sake of heaven and endures? It means that it has meaning and purpose, that it is worthwhile because it is a search for truth. Such machloket disagreement is not only permissible, it is essential. But machloket that is based on demagoguery is corrosive and dangerous. Korach's machloket was an opportunistic grab for power. He senses vulnerability after the episode of the Meraglim, the spies. The people had just learned that they will not enter the promised land, so this was the right moment in Korach's eyes for a coup. Machloket l'shem shamayim, disagreement for the sake of heaven, brings truth. It's worth looking for a moment at the word for truth, emet. We see it's comprised of 3 letters. The Aleph is the very first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. The Taf is the very last, and the Mem is precisely in the middle. Might we draw an interesting and important lesson that we have to seek truth wherever it may be found, on the right, on the left, in the center. Our society is, at this moment, torn apart by divisiveness. We argue intensely and incessantly with invective and worse. Could we disagree perhaps with a measure of kindness, humility, and sensitivity? The Talmud tells us that regarding Hillel and Shammai, Chiba v're'ut nohagim zeh bazeh, that while they disagreed, they related to each other with affection and camaraderie. Our arguments are too often like that of Korach, not for the sake of truth, not from a place of nobility, but rather for personal gain. There is, though, one bright spot in this story. The children of Korach did not follow in their father's ways. Indeed, a number of psalms are attributed to them. The Ashrei is a prayer we recite 3 times daily, and it begins with one of their verses. Ashrei yoshvei vetecha, od yahalalucha selah. Happy are those who dwell in your house. They will praise you forever. Shabbat Shalom.